Hello, darlings, and welcome to Wake Up Well. On this episode of Wake Up Well, we are talking about why your story matters. Yep, your story and why it matters. So tune in. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Wake Up Well. I am your host, Portia Scott. I hope you are ready for an incredible show. One, because we already see the craziness that's going on from the beginning. You probably didn't notice it, but we did in the back. So listen. If you are on today, let us know where it is that you are watching from. Where are you watching from, darling? We are so excited that you wanted to join us today. I'm excited about our episode. Our topic today is why your story matters. I know you're probably thinking, what is that? I think it's so very important that we understand who we are. And really what we're saying is why your story matters is really you matter. You make up that story. So listen, I want to know where it is that you all are tuning in from. I am tuning in from Atlanta. So if this is your first time ever joining one of our broadcasts, one of our shows, again, my name is Portia Scott and I am the host of the Wake Up Well show. And this show was created so that we could have conversations around wellness for our minds, our bodies, and our souls. So one of the things I want to make sure that you guys get your questions answered. You know that during the broadcast, you can always ask your questions. Sometimes we have different topics and you may not want everyone to know your questions that you're asking. And we love the engagement. But if you have another question that you want to ask or you want to ask a question during the show, well, listen, all I need you to do is text the word impact. Text the word impact to 404-737-0867. And this way you can ask your questions after the show is over. You can ask it on Saturday when you're thinking about it. So we want to make sure that you have our community text. So you can text the word impact to 404-737-0867. And not only can you ask your questions, but in this community, we really are sending out text messages whenever we have a show that's going live, as well as ways to help you goal set, productivity, and to keep you inspired. Ty, thank you so much for joining, darling. Hello, Val. Thank you so much for joining, darling. So you guys, let us know where you are tuning in from. Where are you tuning in from? Now, you guys know I am not alone. I am joined with our mental health hygienist. Hello, Nicola. Thank you so much for joining, darling. I am not alone. I'm with our mental health hygienist. And before I bring him on, you guys, I want to know, what are you grateful for? So not only do I want to know where you're calling in from or where you're watching from, but I want to know what you're grateful for. Hello, Lorna. Hello from Connecticut. Yes. I know we have DC in the building. I know we have Georgia in the building. Come on. So listen, if you are watching this show and you enjoyed this show, make sure you share it with a friend. What else are you doing on Sunday night at 7 p.m.? Probably watching the Oscars, but listen, it's only an hour. Then you can get back to the Oscars. So we want to make sure that you share the broadcast. Why? Because if you love the content that we're putting out, when you share this broadcast, other people are able to glean from it. Thomas, hello, darling, tuning in from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Hey, best friend. So we are so excited. So while you guys are letting us know where you're tuning in from, as well as what you are grateful for, I am going to introduce my co-host, our mental health hygienist. Hello, mommy. Thank you so much for joining, darling. I am going to bring in my co-host and our mental health hygienist, Martinez Sellers.
Hello, Hello. Hey, darling. How are you?
I'm good. You know what I think? Amir! Oh my God, that's my godson. Hello, darling. Thank you so much for
Wow.
tuning in, Amir. Thank you. Renee, Rena, she's joining from Norcross. That would be my mama. Lorna, grateful my position in the family of God. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Val says she's from Loganville. She said, grateful that my grandson is here. Makai, shout out to you. We love you. So, Marty.
Yes.
Listen, how are you doing?
I am doing so well. Life is great. I cannot complain. I'm on this high right now and trying to just keep my seatbelt on so I don't fly out the seat, but I cannot complain whatsoever. And just life is good.
I love it. I think I should have been one of those announcers. When the boxers come out, I
Right,
could
right,
have
right.
totally been an announcer. I've totally missed my calling. I am super excited. So, Marty, you know how we do it.
Yes.
Did you tell me what you were grateful for already?
No, but this
Because
part
you were
has,
so excited. I
I
was
was so
just like,
excited.
I know I felt like you had told me already. So, what are you grateful for, my friend?
I am grateful for you and this show. We are hitting our year anniversary. So this is so exciting. Who would have thought that a simple response in a Facebook message would result
Right.
in a year of us doing this together and sharing this amazing journey through one of the most difficult years of our lives, just on a global perspective, but that we were able to help and encourage so many. So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for our co-partnership in this show together, and grateful for just the opportunity to spread love, hope, and joy across this platform that we do each week.
Ooh, Lorna said, "Ooh." So
Yes,
I am, I'm just so grateful. I'm so excited. I can't wait for next week. I'm
I
telling you
know.
guys, listen, Marty, is it going to be a great show?
It is going to be fabulous.
Are
It
they
is.
ready for what's getting ready to happen though?
I don't know if we're ready for what's going to happen.
I don't know if we're ready. I don't know if we're ready.
I got to
But you
go out
guys,
shopping or something.
me too. Me too. Me too. We definitely have to go out shopping. I am so, so excited. I'm so, so excited. I was thinking, because John Henry just left out. Y'all
Right.
know we run a professional show,
We
but
run
y'all
a
know how
professional
John
show.
Henry is. He comes in here, he does what he does. But I am so, so grateful for him. One, because he keeps me grounded. I'm telling you, first of all, I act like a third grader. And when I'm not acting like a third grader, I'm super, super serious and super, super focused. And so he allows me to just be exactly who I am,
Right.
and love me
Yes.
just the same. So I'm
He
so
says,
grateful
but I'm
for John
here.
here because but I'm
Yes.
here. Yes, yes, yes. So I'm super excited. Paula, hello, darling. Thank you, thank you,
Hello,
thank you so
Paula.
much for joining. So, Marty, you know what? I thought about this show, and I know when you got my text, you probably was like, I literally don't understand. But you know what I thought about? I thought about a couple of things. So, for many of you guys, the Oscars, you probably are like, okay, they're on. But the Oscars are on today.
Yes.
And yesterday, John Henry and I were watching this quick Netflix. I guess it wasn't really a documentary, but I'd say it
Hmm.
was almost like an interview. And there were a
Right.
couple of actresses and actors that they were interviewing, and they were really talking about Chadwick Boseman.
Hmm.
And I thought it was so well done because they
Hmm.
didn't show his face. Like you heard him
Right.
talking in the background, but it didn't really show his face.
Hmm.
But I thought, what a story. What a life
Yes.
well lived when
Yes.
people can just continue to talk about your story
Yes.
and talk about
Yes.
what you gave. And I mean, when they talk about him, they talk about how he was always up for the challenge, how he was
Yes.
so kind on set. And as many of us
Yes.
know now, understanding that as he was taping, Ma Rainey's and taping all
Oh
of
my
these shows, Black Panther, that he was going through chemo and the
cancer.
worst times of his life. And it made me think about the fact of how they put this story together, and then looking at the Oscars, and really what the Oscars is, it's an award for storytelling.
Hmm.
Like who told the best story, how they told it,
Right.
what score did they put in. And
Right.
I think that I love stories, and life is really a story. And we
Hmm.
have so many different chapters to our one story,
Hmm.
And I think it's so important because I thought about that. And then today I watched just a little bit of the DMX homegoing celebration, and I couldn't watch much. I couldn't watch much because I still can't believe that I just can't believe
Right.
that we're not going to hear that voice anymore. What
Right.
I say? You know what I mean? We're not going to hear that anymore.
That
So
rasp. Right. Right. Right.
we're not going to hear it anymore. And the guy that was giving, I think he was giving like his eulogy, and he just talked about the man that he was and how he
Mm-hmm.
kind of had this struggle between what he wanted to see, but the
Mm-hmm.
realities of the
Of
human
yes.
experience. And
Yes.
I said, let's talk about why your story matters.
Mm.
And we may not be Chadwick Boseman. The world may not know who you are, but the people in your world will. And so,
Yes.
how are we going to show up for them? And I wondered, and kind of putting this question out, like, what do you want that story to be? Right? What do you want at
Mm.
the end for people to say for what you did and how you showed up in your life? And this is why your story matters, because so many
Yes.
of us live a life and nobody knows your story. We're closed off. We don't. And I'm not saying sharing all of your trauma and all of that, because our stories are beautiful. Marty, listen, next
Yes.
week, we're literally going to share our story together. We're going to share the story of the Wake Up Well show in this
Yes.
year. We're going to be able to go back and just
Yes.
talk about that. And so I think it's so important that we talk about why our stories matter. Daddy, thank you so much for joining, darling. That's my dad.
That's your
And
daddy.
oh my God, listen. So I got to stop the press. Miss Deborah, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So her and me and her husband served together when I was in the
Wow.
military, and we deployed together as well. So yeah, Marty, let's kind of dive into and
Most
talk a little
definitely.
bit about why our story matters. You did this 30-day thing. I am enough. I am this. I am that. And I
Yes.
think that coincides with our story,
Most definitely.
knowing who we are and understanding that. And
That's
so,
so important because, especially when we're faced up against challenges in life, we have to recognize who we are and our purpose. And Portia, one of the first things I ask in therapy whenever I get a new patient is this: who are you?
mhm,
And you would be surprised how many people have sat there across from me and tears start coming down their face because they said, I don't know who I am. I said, well, what story have you lived this far? And even in that, many people don't even recognize the stories that they are currently living. And I'm just of this opinion that everyone, like you said, has this story that's longing to come out of us. And nobody can play our part except us. I was watching this clip from TD Jakes today, and he said, if you are here, that means your story is not over.
come on.
So don't drop the mic yet. Continue to use it to amplify who you are. I was done. That's beautiful. And we have the mic. Amplify who you are by telling your story. So when you sent that to me, although you said it made perfect sense to me. I was like, that's what we are, and that's what we need to do. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, Marty. It's funny because I was teaching some kids. We have what we call encounter nights on Fridays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where
Mm-hmm.
the kids come together and
Mm-hmm.
they have a blast. And so I have the littles, I have the little ones. And I'm telling you, I did this. So we did
Yes.
this kind of experiment, and we
Mm-hmm.
sat the kids in front, and the object was for the kids to first say who they were, their
Yes.
identity. And I'm
Yes.
telling you, the things that it's funny because oftentimes when we asked who am I would
Mm-hmm.
say, I may say, oh, I'm Portia, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm this. Those are just the hats I wear. Those are just kind of,
Yes.
what
Those are
I
the
do,
roles.
who I am, the
Yes.
roles that I play, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not who I am, right? And so
Yes.
understanding that identity of who we are. And so the kids begin to say like who they were, and they were like,
Yes.
I'm kind, and I've been
Yes.
made to do this, and I'm a lead. I mean, all of this stuff, and it was amazing. And then they got the opportunity to hear what their peers said. And the
Mm.
reason why I did that is
Mhm.
because we all have an internal narrative. And
Mhm.
initially, that internal narrative, yeah, it starts with us, but a lot of it
Yes.
starts with the people around us and how they
Yes.
begin to identify us, what
Yes.
they begin to say to us. So it's so important that we are secure in who we are, because what happens is, whether good or bad,
Mhm.
there are some narratives that were positive, but
Yes.
we have taken them on and they become who we are, and it's not really who we are. And we look
Yes.
back and we realize, I really didn't want that goal. I really
Right.
didn't want that degree.
Right.
I really didn't want this. But because I had been told what my story was,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and I think that's so,
Yes.
so important that we understand and kind of have these buckets for our
Mhm.
story. And it takes some time, especially at 41 years old, when you're looking back and you're like, what is my real story?
Mhm.
What is the story that other people have said? What is
Mhm.
my story? And then what is the God story, right? Like, who
Yes.
was I created to be? I say this one thing about purpose, because people have this thing, what is my purpose? What is my
Right.
purpose?
Right. Right.
And for me, sometimes I'm just like, live your life. Because what happens is, purpose is like a river, and it
Mhm.
is going to flow through your life, and you will start to see trickles of that, right? So a river has many purposes. So a river can be used for
Yes.
drinking water, it can be
Yes.
used for recreation, it can be
Yes.
used to power plants, it can be
Yes.
used to feed, it has all these things. So you are a river. Your purpose is multifunctional, just like
Mhm.
that river. So your purpose should come out when I'm at work, when I'm, at
Right.
school, when I'm in the grocery store. So it
Right.
doesn't necessarily have to be this thing that, oh, it's only in this area, but my purpose shows up. I know I was called to help people just inspire and make an impact in their own lives and live intentionally. And
Most
I
definitely.
know that without a shadow of a doubt. And guess where it shows up? When I'm talking to my husband, my
Yes.
kids, at church, in
Yes.
the boardroom, wherever it
Yes.
is. And so when we think about purpose, I mean, God is a creative being. So why would he just make us one dimensional?
Right. But can we go here too? A river is
Yes.
also a source of power.
Yes.
And it has the power to create electricity. It has
Hmm.
the power, and it's so powerful that it can
Yes.
literally move the earth.
Right?
And cause the earth and even
Hmm.
the lines,
Hmm.
property and value lines to
Lines.
change by
Absolutely.
slowly eroding at it. We have the power to change lives and literally change the course and
Yes.
direction of our narrative. Come
And
on.
even the
Yes, sir.
creative, right? Like you said, that it's creative, right? So you have the we have inside of us a creativity, right? And
Yes.
just an DNA of creativity.
Yes.
And so understanding that, I think for so long, and I'm just going to say this, a lot of times in the church when we think about purpose is, oh, well, what is the specific call on my life?
Yes.
Meaning, am I in the fivefold ministry?
Right.
But
Right.
the thing is that we have to think larger than that when it comes to purpose,
Hmm.
because God is saying, I can put you here, but I created you as this being, but I can
Hmm.
put you here and here and here and here. And so as long as I keep on living, purpose is revealed as you
Yes.
go. You know,
And it flows
well,
out of us.
yes, as you go. How my purpose was shown when I was 25 is different than is shown when I'm 41, but I'm
Right.
still in purpose. And so I think that that's so important. I love how you said that it's just this river, it is this power dynamic that we have. And
Yes.
when we all understand that your purpose is important, because I like to say, one, when we're thinking about our story,
Right.
that our story is the connector. Our
Yes.
story connects our purpose, our relationships. Your story is a connector. The reason why we started Wake Up Well, just think about this.
Yes.
You all that started with us, Trish and Deja's
And
on, and
Paula.
and Paula and Val and Rena,
Yes.
my parents. everybody, John Henry, everybody that started out with us, the purpose of the Wake Up Well show was COVID-19.
Yes.
We started it because we wanted to bring the answers to the questions that our community had in reference to COVID-19.
Right.
That was the
Right.
purpose of the show. Okay. And then guess what? We say, okay, we're going to kind of take COVID off and we're going to talk about wellness. The purpose of this show still remained that we were going to bring information, that we were going to inspire, that we were going to
Right.
impact our community.
And transform.
We just changed the name.
Yes.
We literally just changed the name. Purpose was still the same. We're still showing up whether we are named the COVID-19 show or whether we are Wake Up Well. And so when we think about our stories, it's a connector. And
But
this,
you said something else, not to cut you off, that
no.
struck to me too. A river is living. It's constantly flowing. A
Yes.
river is also fresh water. It's not like a pond that has stale water. And a pond can get very stale, and mold and scum can come around the edges of ponds, if you will, because it's stale water in so many ways. It can't move unless something else moves it, such as the wind or something like that. But when a river connects with another river, it gets stronger and
Yes.
bolder until it becomes this huge oasis, if you will. So when my river connected with your river that had already connected with John Henry's river, and then we kept doing this, our river got wider and it got
Right.
more powerful, able to not just move other people, but we're able to move and transform people's lives because now more fresh water came into our rivers together, being able to feed and sustain more life that lived within that river as well.
That's so good, Marty. Listen, it's so funny. Paula said, and there's no expiration date on
That's
your
right.
purpose.
That's
Listen,
right.
I'm telling you guys, I say it, you know,
Yes.
it's funny because it's different when you say that as at a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old. I am 41 years old, you know, and that's not even old. But what I am saying is sometimes we see these time frames for where I should
Right.
be, how I should have done it, what I should have done. But guess what? You have time now. And the thing about
Yes.
stories is that you are also able to continue to tell your story the way you want to tell it.
That's
Let me tell you,
right.
you can tear out pages, you can add pages, you can change the way this story ends because you
That's
are, in
right.
fact, the writer
Of your own narrative.
story.
That's right. That's right.
You are the writer. And so let's talk about that a little bit,
Mhm.
changing that narrative. I'm serious about this, Marty.
Yes.
You talk about creating these new neural pathways. And I will
Yes.
tell you, I read this book by Dr. Caroline Leaf. And it
Yes.
wasn't
Don't you
until
love her?
who switched off my
Off my
brain.
brain.
And so when I read that, I really thought how your mind is how your mind will always be. Your thought processes and all these things, that's how they would always be. Well, she says differently.
She
So
does.
let's talk about creating these new neural pathways, because I think we may have people listening that are like, listen, it's too late for me. I wrote my story already. I don't know what my purpose is. I'm confused. But we can change the narrative
That's
that
right.
you are telling yourself in this moment.
Yes, yes. You know, we say it this way in the therapeutic world. We say cognitive because we say mind over mood. In the spiritual realm, we say spirit over body. In that term. In other words, we're now, if we're talking about the context of changing the story, changing the narrative, we then begin to speak those things that aren't as if they are, because we create this new neuroplasticity in our minds. In other words, I'm creating new pathways. Broad is the road that leads to destruction, but narrow is the way that leads to salvation. I didn't mean to
Yes.
say it that way, but see,
But yes.
broad is our stinking thinking, but narrow becomes the way of righteousness. Narrow is the way of changing how we once were doing things in a way that's going to make a difference. So now I have the power. When I say I am enough, listen, I don't just say I am enough. I say I, Martinez Sellers, am enough. And when I say that, by inserting my name in there, it tells not only me, but it tells my brain and every
Yes.
inch of my body and every neuron and cell to get in line with my thought. Because not only am I, Martina Sellers, am enough, the Bible says that I'm more than enough. I'm more than a conqueror. So then I change that and says, I, Martina Sellers, am more than enough. I'm more than a conqueror through Christ. So in that, I then began to change my stinking thinking. And I literally take my brain that was in the dump yard and I pick it up and transport it to higher places. I transport it to higher thinking. I transport it to where I need it to be. Why? Because as I begin to transport it, I then change my thought process, which then begins to change my expectations, which be change my behaviors, which changes my purpose. In that she says it this, I'm gonna turn this back over to you. I just get excited over this.
I love it. Gail, thank you so much for joining, darling. Yes. And she said you have to practice changing the way you talk
That's
and
right.
think. Listen, I'm telling, I think what happens is sometimes people feel like, oh, well, I've said this for a week, or I've been
Yes.
saying these confessions or affirmations or whatever you want to call them. I'll call them declarations because the
Yes.
Bible says that when you decree and declare a thing,
Yes.
it shall be established. So the reason why we're saying that is based,
Yes.
for me, is based on the word, right? And knowing
Right.
who we are. But say, for instance, you don't. But changing that thinking, it does not just happen overnight. It is a
Thank you.
process that you have to keep on going. You have to think that if I've been thinking this way for 30, 40,
That's
20
it.
years, that you got to keep thinking, you have to keep talking what it is that you want to see. And what happens is when you start speaking differently, like you said, your behavior starts to change. Then your actions start
Yes.
to change. Then the results start to change.
Yes.
And so the people that you're drawing to you, the resources that
Come
you're
on.
drawing to you are being drawn by the words that you were saying. So we're wondering, why is there negative people around us? Why is there negativity around us?
negativity.
That is because by your mouth, by your thinking, because what comes out of your mouth has already started here. But let me tell you, if you can think this and be like, oh, Portia, you going crazy, but out of my mouth, I can say that I am enough. I have peace.
Yes.
I have joy.
Yes.
I have harmony.
Yes.
It's different. And so now my mind is like, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, she's saying that. Yes, that is what I'm saying. So that, in fact, you can draw those people to us. We talked about how when you share your story, you allow people to get in the boat with you. If I would have never done the COVID-19 show, you would have never had a boat to get in with me. And so
Right.
what am I saying? So you guys know how I am. I'm like, start it now. You have no excuses. So this is your permission to start. Why do you need to start telling your story? Tell your story of how you want to create a nonprofit. Tell your story about how you want to see kids and educational
That's right.
practices change.
That's
Tell
right.
your story
Tell
about
it.
how you want to be CEO of the company you currently work for. Tell
Yes.
your story about how you want to be debt-free and financially
Come on.
free. Why? Because when you start to tell your story, now people can get in the boat with you. But no one can get in the boat with you to help you carry out and write out your story if you don't tell your story.
And so you said something, you said several things there. See, out of our mouth, we have the power to speak life and death. So what are you speaking? If you constantly say, nothing ever works out for me, I'm going to start looking for the other shoe to start to fall.
Right.
When patients tell me that, I said, why are you looking for the other shoe to fall as opposed to looking up for greater things in your life? Then you have to learn to write things down. I write post-its and have post-its here. When you brush your teeth, I am enough. When you take out the shower, you come out the shower, I am more than enough. When you go put your socks and shoes on, that you not only now start saying that, but you start seeing it as well. Because as you start to do it and you start to build it, you start building and writing. People say, well, I want to start a business. I said, what's your business plan? Well, I don't know. I said, well, what's the name of the business? Have you written it down? Start writing it down. Start planning it. Start saying, hey, hello, I'm so-and-so, the CEO of, and start order your business cards, go on and order your station, start designing your website, one step, even if you don't have room, start knocking walls down so you can start, what are you doing? I'm building my office space.
Listen,
but
you gotta get there before you get there. I'm telling
right,
y'all, I am
right.
gonna be on the stage of Essence Fest, and I'm telling
Come
you, it's so
on.
funny when I'm there. It's gonna be so smooth because I've been there. I've not only
Right.
been there here on the show, but I've been there in my mind. I
Yes.
visualized it. I
Yes.
speak it that I am going to be a speaker on the stage, and not only that, but I'm gonna host a show.
Yes.
Essence is calling me now without
Yes.
delay. These are the confessions
That's
that
right.
I say. And so it's so important that we have that. Absolutely, Gail. Write the vision and make it
And make
plain.
it
You
plain.
better
That's
get
right.
there
I'm gonna
before
be on
you
my
get
TED
there.
talk. Right. I've already have the
Listen,
teleprompter already ready.
right, exactly. Listen, I have already looked at buildings. We have a building by our church. I called Daryl one time and I said, Daryl, I never seen this before. This is going to be where the studio is. I never
Right.
listen.
Right.
The trajectory of my career had nothing to do with broadcasting.
No.
It had nothing to do with this. But this is what God has called me to in this season. I
And
was
the
like,
end.
Daryl. I was like,
Amen.
Daryl, this is our whole studio. We got it set up. Yes, I already said it, Paula. You already know.
Now, Paul, I
You
need you to
go
be with me at when I do my TED
at
talk
the
now.
TED Talk, right? Yes, but you have to see it before
That's
you see it.
right.
I love
That's
Bishop
right.
Hilliard. Bishop Ivy Hilliard says this, and he
Yes.
says, "Paint the picture." Paint the future on the canvas of your imagination.
That's right.
Listen, you
We
better
have
paint
to.
it on the canvas of your imagination. And one thing, the reason why it's important to speak is because it's very hard to have a thought and another thought. So
Hmm.
if you're thinking about one thing,
Doubly
it's going to,
minded.
so right now, if you close your eyes and I say giraffe, you're going to think about a giraffe. And I say dog, you're not going to think about both of them at the same time. It's going
Hmm.
to, the dog is going to supersede that. So when you're
Hmm.
having thoughts about, oh, I'm this and my story is
Hmm.
terrible and I'll never make it. That's why it's important that you speak it. So now your mind can't comprehend both of them. So what you're saying is you're saying it back to yourself. And now it's saying, oh, okay, I got that. Let me say that again. Marty, listen, I be around here confessing all kind of stuff. I'm
Right.
telling you, because
Right.
it's so important.
And you spoke to something that speaks to me too. We do this technique called guided imagery.
Hmm.
In there, and it's a meditation piece whenever you're overwhelmed with something. But I like it also as you're writing that down, as you're meditating, as you're doing your yoga, as you're praying, sit in that for a moment and then start imagining. Just like you said, we're guiding our thoughts to where we, not where we are, but where we're anticipating the end of the story to be. As we're guiding that, you then begin to see it. I tell people, paint it in your mind. I love that. Paint it in your mind. What the colors of the wall is going to be. What is your office going to look like? What is the computer? What is the everything? And you begin to guide your imagery in it. Listen, go start online and start picking out office furniture. Put it in somebody's cart. You ain't got to pay for it now. It can sit in the cart for a year or so and start doing that. So again, you're taking steps towards not only speaking your future, but helping you to manifest it in such a way that it's going to become your reality. And then the last thing I want to encourage you in, listen, you in this thing called life as well, you have to now choose who's going to sit at your table. Let me say that again. You have to decide who's going to sit at your table. I can no longer allow negativity and negative distractions to sit at my table any longer. But I have to invite those that I need to help me get to that place, not only to sit at my table. I will move my chair and go sit at someone else's table until they tell me
Hmm.
I can't sit there any longer. Come on.
Hmm. I love that. I love that. You know, I like to think of those people. I have about four people that I think about, and I think about it in terms of sports, right? Because you have people
Right.
who are your coaches, right? And these are the
Yes.
people are going to help you with the play by plays. They're going to
Right.
help you navigate this. They're going to be the people that be like,
Right.
Marty, hey, remember this. They're going to be reminding
Yes.
you of what it is that you said. These are the
Yes.
people that are going to replay your dreams. They're going to replay your story for you so that they they remind you of the plays that you need to play to get there. And then you have the people that are playing alongside of you,
Hmm.
right? And these are the people that get down and dirty with you. And these are the
That's
people
right.
that say, if you skin your knee, I'm going to skin my knee. I'm going to
Hmm.
put some skin in the game. What did you say? Okay, I don't have all the money to buy the whole system, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you $100. I'm going to give you
Right.
$10 because I
Right.
believe in you. I'm in here
Right.
with you. I got skin in the game.
That's
And then you
right.
have people that are audience members, and audience members are fine, but they don't know the intricate details. So most of
Hmm.
the time, they are going to cheer you on a little bit when you're winning. They're excited
Right.
about when you're winning
Right.
because they're getting something from it. And so I
Right.
think it's just important that we understand who the people are in our lives and where they go. Not everybody is
Yes.
terrible. Not everybody has to
No.
get kicked to the curb, but there are some people that, hey, coach, I need a play right now. Coach, I need a play. And then there's some times where you need a teammate, a player, and you like, listen, I need you to get in there with me. I need you to just help me out. And then sometimes we do need those audience members that are cheerleaders, that are cheering us on, that are saying, you got this, you got this, you can do that. And just
Yeah.
understanding where people go in our lives. And I hope people are seeing that when we talk about telling your story, why your story
Yes.
matters, is really living out your story. It's not
That
as
is so
much
true.
of telling your story as it is living out your story, right? The funny thing is
Yes.
people live out their stories every day, but how do you want to live it out? Do you want to live it out intentionally? Daryl is crazy. I
I
didn't even
know.
read it, but
I
I
feel
know it was some people need to be kicked to the curb though. No, some people do, but I think it's important that we manage it, right? That we manage who, because there's some people that's like, listen, I'm in a faith fight. This I'm believing I'm gonna have a studio. And if you telling me I'm gonna be sitting in my same home office, maybe that's I can't do that right now. Right? You gotta I
But
can't
even
do
those
that.
people, I think are there in our lives. I've noticed that some of them are there, Portia, because I've had
Mm-hmm.
some people who I thought were very close to me,
Mm-hmm.
who did not see the vision I had for myself or
Right.
the vision that God. And at first it hurt. And God had to speak to me and says, no, Marty, you're actually going to be the example to them. So I had to put some distance before. Are you okay? Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm doing quite well. But
Right.
I needed to whenever you're in a position of growth, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
the Bible talks about how Christ often had to steal away to
Mm-hmm.
get back with the Father so we can have
Right.
one-on-one relationship.
That's
You
right.
know, when you are in leadership and when you've given you a vision and when you have a desire and you're changing the stinking thinking, there's going to
Yes.
be several times that you have to spend by yourself in doing nothing but planning. Successful people are up while other people are sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Successful people and millionaires and people who want to take your business and your whatever that might be to the next level, we're getting up while everyone is sleeping. We're staying up late while everyone is sleeping. We're
Mm-hmm.
turning off the television while everyone is watching Housewives and some of these other things. We're not going out to everyone's parties and everything. Not that we're trying to be unsocial, but we
Mm-hmm.
know the cost that it involves in order to go to the next level. See, when I'm sick, I have to take some time away to myself in order to get well. We're not saying you're
That's
sick,
right.
but you're about to birth something. When women are about to give birth to children, they begin to separate themselves. They begin to prepare the baby for the arrival of the baby, so they get the room ready. And that's the best example I can come up with right now, because you start separating yourself because you don't want to be around a bunch of germy folk. You start cleaning, you start getting
Mm-hmm.
yourself ready, you start preparing things for the baby. Why? Because you're expecting this beautiful gift to be prepared to arrive, and you need to be prepared for when the present is given to you. So are you
Absolutely.
prepared, or will you be caught with your work undone?
Are you prepared? You know, I think about this. This is one of my favorite biblical characters. My husband's probably going to come in, and even if you're not, you like you don't Bible me to death. It's fine. Listen, the principles work. But
Yes.
when we look at David, there was a time where he was anointed, and there was an in between before he was king, right? And the reason why is that there was a preparation time, a time of preparation when he was in
Yes.
the field, when he was keeping people away from the sheep or keeping keeping bears and everything away
Mm-hmm.
from the sheep. He was preparing, but he did not know. There is a time from the time where you may see the dream, hear the dream, know the dream, feel the dream before the dream comes to fruition, because there is a time in between where you need to be able to shoot right. You need to be able to have your aim right. You need to be able to be prepared for what it is that's coming when you get there, because we only know what happens at our
Yes.
level, but there are
Yes.
different things that happen at different levels. And so it makes me think of what I like to call is you got to create a systematic approach for success. You have to create a
Yes.
systematic approach for success. What I like to call them are daily disciplines. What are those daily disciplines? And you don't need a lot. You just need one. When I was in the military, one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that people know is about making your bed. And you probably
Mm-hmm.
want to know, like, why is making your bed so important? It is a systematic approach
Mm-hmm.
for success. And what it does is it allows you to pay very attention to detail. So if
Details.
I could pay attention to making my bed properly, not just throwing the covers open, but
Mm-hmm.
making sure that the corners are straight, making sure that there's no wrinkles, then I'll
Mm-hmm.
pay attention in my business. Then I'll pay attention in my marriage. And I'll pay attention
Mm-hmm.
to my children. So it really is your systematic approach to success. What are those daily disciplines that you have in place to make sure that you show up? So if it is in fact that, hey, I want to write a book. Maybe that daily discipline is that I am going to write for 30 minutes a day, no matter what. That is my daily discipline, because that is my systematic approach to success. Maybe is
Right.
that you procrastinate or you get squirrel brain. Hey, let me tell you, I got so many ideas swirling around. So what do I have to do? So now I have an app that creates a
Oh, that's
focused
good. That's
time.
good.
A focused time is called Forest, and I use it. You can set
Come
it.
on,
And see,
Forrest.
the thing is, I got a squirrel brain, but I also am very competitive. And I don't need to compete against you. I just need to compete against me. And so what happens is you're able to build these trees if you stay off your phone and focus for that amount of time. So there are just things that we need to
Yes.
put in place to make sure that we are successful, that we see that success. I want to build a business. Well, we understand that it takes time. So why don't you take one task a day, do that one task, complete it, and that is your systematic approach to success. And
Love
when
that.
you create these daily disciplines, they show up in other areas of your life.
I love that portion. What I like to call, especially when using the analogy of David, I said
Mhm.
we are training for reigning.
Mhm.
Train, and it's a
Right, right,
daily
right.
discipline. So you have to take care of the small things. If you don't take care of the small things, such as making your bed, making sure your car is clean, making sure you're doing this and this, how can you be trusted with the bigger things?
Absolutely.
Woo, I'm speaking to
Absolutely.
myself right there. Help me, Holy Ghost.
Aren't we always talking to ourselves? Listen,
Yes.
listen. They think we're
Yes.
talking to them. We're not. We're having a whole conversation internally
Yes.
about that. But yeah, I
Woo.
love to say this equation. This is my success equation, and it
Right.
is intention plus
Yes.
strategy plus
Yes.
discipline equals
Mm.
change. Intention. Intention is the thing that you
Yes.
want to do. Strategy is how you're going to get there, what it
Yes.
looks like, how I'm going to map this out and
Yes.
plan this out. But discipline is
Lord help
actually
us.
implementing the plan, because we can plan all day, but until you have the discipline to do it, there will never be a change. And until then, that's what equals change.
But
So
discipline is such the hardest thing. People are like, well, and since we're going back, people want your story, but they don't
mhm,
want the discipline behind it.
mhm, mhm.
So they want the glory that you have, but they don't want the story and the
That's right.
discipline and all the other things that came along with it. It's like, be careful what you ask for,
That's
because
so true.
you have been disciplined when you were staying up late at night, making sure Wake Up Well was going on. You were vetting people to come on the show. Some went well, so we're like, oh well, okay, God bless them. We're not having them back, but
Right, right.
I understand. I Portia, I had someone on my show and they was in line at the wig shop. And I was like, how you invite me on your show and you online? So I'm like, note to self. But it's a live and learn. It really
It
is.
is.
And I said, oh, that's not the story I want for my
Mm-hmm.
in this
Mm-hmm.
particular chapter of my
Yep.
life. So, and we have that privilege and the power to narrate and to orchestrate our own stories.
Absolutely. You know, I had the privilege of, and I talk about this all the time, caring for girls,
Hmm.
where I'm an ambassador for them. And
Right.
I had Richard on, and Richard talks about this lady, and they were climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. So every year they climb Mount Kilimanjaro to raise money for the
Hmm.
foundation. And
Right.
he asked this lady, he said, "Why are you climbing?" And she said, "I'm climbing this mountain so one girl will have one less mountain to climb in her life."
Hmm.
And I was just like, that's so powerful. The reason why she was climbing that mountain was so that they could get, hygiene and
Hmm. Hmm.
menstrual products
Hmm.
to
For these
girls.
ladies.
And
Uh-huh.
she was climbing so one girl would have one less mountain to climb. And I think about
Wow.
when we share our story, we got to
Yes.
think of it as one mountain. It's one
Yes.
less mountain that someone else has to climb. When someone sees you show up in who you are, it's one less mountain. You've
That's
just
right.
taken a brick out of
Yes.
something she has to climb. You've just
Yes.
broken glass in an
Yes.
area where someone else doesn't have to go through that. I
Yes.
am, as far as I know I'm obviously in, my family. I am the first entrepreneur. I don't know if grandma, great grandmother, and great great. I don't know that, but what I do know is
Hmm.
everybody that's alive and being the first one is that now my daughter has one less mountain to
That's
climb.
right.
And the mountain that she has less to climb is even the belief that she can do
Hmm.
it. Right?
Hmm.
Like she doesn't have to believe. She doesn't even have to work to believe that because she
Hmm.
has an example. She's had
That's right.
exposure to it. And so when we tell our stories, Marty, when you tell your story about being in college and
Hmm.
being a dad and all of these things, it's one less mountain someone has to climb. And so
Yes.
hearing your story or even seeing your story, I ain't gonna tell people how amazing Marcel Consulting is doing, but what I will say is that when I think about your story and I be like, is this less than 6 years? I'm still under 6 years. I 5, it probably was in 3 years, but I'm just saying I'm still
Wow.
under that. I know then if he can do it, then I can do it too. And
That's
I'm just going to go
right.
to the Bible because the Bible says what he does for one in principle, he'll do for another. So
That's
I can
right.
believe for it, right? So it's one
Yes.
less mountain that I have to climb. Me,
Right.
the person you
Right.
look at every Sunday. And so it's so important that when we share our stories, it's people who don't know us. It's people who you don't know are looking
Yeah.
at you, and it's one less mountain that they have to climb to get to where they're trying to go.
But I think as we're sharing our stories, we have to not only be vulnerable, that's information one way, but we also have
Right.
to be transparent
Mm.
in that as well. Too many of us are slightly vulnerable, but never transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And in my transparency, I had to share that I went to people and says, I'm starting a business. And I said, I need you to come and work for me, but I don't know when I'm going to pay you. And I went to
Right.
someone else, I'm starting a business and I don't even have a dime to start this business with, but I'm going to set, I was like Lucy from Charlie Brown and just said, psychiatrist is in 10 cents. And I was going to talk to anybody who would listen. Portia, I gave away free therapy for 3 years. How much I owe you? Nothing.
Are you
Because I,
serious?
I couldn't bill insurances because it took too long. So I was just like, well, then it's just like, well, what do you have? Well, I got $20. Okay, I'll
I'll
take
take
it.
it. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yes, yes. But I was not too proud to say, you know what, since you can't pay me this, and this. And as a result, I now have referrals from people that I did free therapy with or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you need to go see Marty. You need to do this. And so you're busting at the seams. And I'm just a believer that when you bless other people out the
Mm-hmm.
genuineness of your heart, God will, the law of reciprocity then kicks in. God will then begin to bless you. And then you will
Yes.
begin to reap what you sow in that. And then so I don't have a problem saying, you can't get me for that price anymore. However, I do have a few trainees that's
Hello.
learning. They're
Mm-hmm.
excellent. They've been vetted. Now,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're going to get me, my rate is now going
Is
up to about 250, 300. So God bless your heart and your ministry. But but we're going to give you quality service at a
right.
lesser price. Yes.
Right. And
But
so
yeah, it takes time to do
I
that. So we have
love
to
that.
also be willing to make sure we can meet needs. And I can share this with you. You know, we paid other people before we paid ourselves. I said,
Mhm.
Lord, I can't pay myself this month, but Lord, I'm still trusting you.
Right.
I
But I'm gonna
haven't been
take care of
homeless
them.
yet. That's right.
Haven't been homeless yet. I love it, Marty. That is funny. So you were just telling people, listen, I'm starting a business. I literally have nothing to pay
I-
you. And I'm telling you, listen, when we started the podcast, when we started Portia Scott Media, I was starting a podcast.
right.
Daryl called me and said, what is this podcast thing? And I was like, dude, listen, we're friends and I just need you to know right off, I don't have anything for you.
Right.
Like if you're gonna, I don't have anything. This is the honest truth. I don't. And he was like, no, you don't have to pay me. You don't have to do all this stuff. And I wanted to make it clear, so we had to have several. Okay. I
Right.
just want to go back to this payment thing. Your girl can't.
Remember
I
what I
just
said?
started. I just want you. And then we put out the podcast. I was like, let me just remind you again. And I think I probably reminded him for a good 6 months to a year that your
Right.
girl can. I love you. And I always told him if money is an issue,
Right.
the business, I don't care about that. I care about our friendship. Well,
That's
I can't
right.
pay you. I can't
That's
pay you.
right.
But when I could, I did pay him, right?
That's
And so
right.
I think it's important that that you're honest, right? Like I just say that because you said you were saying it. And so people,
I
what
told
I
him I can
want to
buy you a
say,
chicken dinner.
it's
But
not going to be perfect, right? So
right, it's
I
not.
have this launch in 30-day podcast course, and I'm telling you, and I'm still here. I have this launch in 30 days podcast course. It is
Right.
30 days. And I
Right.
tell people this is the amount it is. It's 30 days. It is created for you to launch your podcast in 30 days. Why? Because after 30 days, the excitement of launching anything, it
It's
goes down.
over.
So even when you look in corporate America, whenever we look at projects, we usually can go a little longer than 30 days, but right around that 45-day mark, you
Hmm.
start to see a project start to cut off. And the fact of the matter is corporations put billions, millions of dollars into
Hmm.
their project management offices. And guess
Hmm.
what? About 85% of those projects fail. What does that
My
mean?
God.
That means that they're either over time, right? So they didn't
Hmm.
release on the date that they said. They're
Right.
either over budget
Over
or
budget.
they did not get what it was that they said they were going to get. So imagine them putting all that money in. When you go to do it, and you don't have the resources. So I say that because the course is created to do this 30 days. Why? Because if you want it, you'll do it. And
That's
what
right.
it is it pushes you to not be perfect. That's really why I
Yes.
do it. It's so that
Yes.
you will put this out. We're going to make sure it's excellent, but it won't be perfect because you'll
Right.
never be perfect. It'll be
Right.
excellent. I can't tell you how many iterations. Daryl, how many intro songs have we gone through? 3. We're on our 3rd intro song, intro and outro song. Why? Because as you grow, you get better. Now we have a
You
little
do.
teaser at the front. We didn't
Come
have that
on.
before. And so listen, I am saying this because you tell your story the way it is, and then you start to create and put in, okay, this is how I want my story to be told now. So now I'm going to put this up a notch, or I'm going to do this.
Right.
It is so, if we're still here, you still have life to live.
That's
And you
right.
still have the ability to show up and impact people in your way. And so
And you know
that's
what?
why we say that.
I love it too, because one of the best ways of flattery too, and you have helped me out so much, and I'm like, oh, Portia's doing this, so I got to follow the Portia model. Oh, Portia's doing this, I got to, and but that shows that you are the leader of this pack,
Aw.
and that so many other people are watching what you do, and how much you've impacted, and I know that I would not be where I'm at had it not been from your amazing willingness to share your story, your willingness to mentor me, your willingness to say, Marty, okay, I saw you did that. That wasn't that good. You want to do that again? Yeah, yeah, but thank you. But it's all good because we're vested in each other. We're concerned now. Not only are we concerned about our own story, you're concerned about how my story is read by
Mm-hmm.
other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that,
Yep.
I trust you to trust your thoughts. I trust you enough to say, you know what, she's right. Let me redo this. It's
Wow.
okay to be able to redo that and not have any hard feelings, to know that it comes from a great place, and to know that you do it because you love what I do, with that as well, because we represent each other, and that's such a shared story. This
That's
is
my
my
daddy. He just saying I'm his first love.
Come on, come on.
Right.
Well,
I
Daddy,
am.
Mama, you did a wonderful job.
Oh,
We
Marty, that's so
salute the two
kind.
of you. But I do honor what you have done, and the path and the river that you've allowed me to join and cross, and even at times join where you're at, so that we become stronger together, being able to reach more people. You taught me the foundation of that, and your husband is teaching me the foundations of other things as I'm joining some other. Listen, shout out to Chart to Heart. God bless you. If you ain't with Chart to Heart, baby, y'all need to sign up for Chart to Heart right now. But
Right.
I thank you for the Scott family. I'm just going to hyphenate my last name to be part of the Scott too, and I need to see how I can get in the wheel next. But
Marty, you are so kind. You guys, while you guys are on here, I just want to remind everybody next week, you will see us blasting flyers and stories about next week. Let me tell you, we are
yes,
super excited. Why? Because we started telling our story a year ago.
yes, we did.
And our stories were COVID-19 stories, and
Yes,
they were racial injustice stories,
yes,
and they were stories about marriage and family.
yes,
And we've told so many stories, Marty. When you think about it, the shows that we've had, we've always infused our own stories. You guys have
yes.
seen me cry multiple times on the show because I've shared my heart, and I've been
Right,
vulnerable with you guys because I
right.
care so much about this community, and I want to see you win. I want to hear when you're winning. I want to
Yes,
hear what your story is and what's happening in your story. Like, you stuck with me. We are a community. And
that's
so,
right.
for the last month, we've in the text community, we've been going through every single day. We've had a text message, and I've been checking in, and people are just doing incredible things in that community. And so as we go into May, we're talking about impact. And I
Mhm.
just want you guys to join us next week at 7 p.m. Listen, I'm telling you, it's going to be so good. You guys are going to be like, those my people. And so you guys just watch out. You know how I
That's
said,
right.
I'm going to say this again because when I said it last week, somebody's and not a like a bad word, but when I say it, you'll know. But Alexa, set an alarm for May 2nd at 7 p.m. um, Paula said when I said that, her Alexa actually caught her. So I'm hoping someone else has their Alexa. That was the
That's
A,
right.
has their Alexa around. We're going to talk about our story. We're going to tell
Yes.
our story of our 1 year anniversary. Actually, it last month was our 1 year anniversary, but
That's
we are
right.
celebrating next weekend. Marty, I am so excited, and
Do I
I
need to get
thank
my
you.
suit out and
Thank you
ready?
for coming along this journey with me because it definitely has been a journey.
It has been an absolute joy and pleasure, and I can't wait. I want to let some stuff out, but I'm like,
No, Marty, we can't. Well, there's some stuff will be like leaked.
yes.
You know,
Okay. Okay.
so
Okay.
some stuff will be leaked. We'll leak a little bit of stuff, but you guys, thank you so much. I hope that you guys enjoyed today and just talking about
Yes.
your story because no, we don't, Daryl. He asked the question, should we? Should we, Daryl?
No. No. Well,
No.
it's
Okay. No, 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 no. No. We got it.
no.
No, it's such a big thing.
It
You guys,
is.
we're talking back and forth to Daryl. Y'all know the Mac in the back, our producer. He actually produces this show. But you guys, I'm super excited. I hope you guys enjoy just telling your story and why your story matters so much that
Right.
one, it shows somebody that the impossible is possible. It gives them exposure. It creates this connector, and it helps someone climb a
Yeah.
mountain that they would not have otherwise Climb. So yes, no, Daryl, because like the whole thing, that's the whole thing. So, but we may be asking, I will just say this. I will say this. We may be asking a couple of you guys to pop in on the
That's
show
right. That's
next
right.
week. So we may ask a couple of you to pop in. So listen, if you want to pop in on the show, if you've been with us, riding with us for a year, a month, a day, a week, and you want to pop in on the show with us next week, let us know in the comments
Yes.
or what? You can text the word
Text.
impact, or you don't even have to text no word because the way my text is set up, all you got to do is be like, hey, girl, hello, darling. Listen, I want to be on the show. It is 404-737-0867. And lastly, I want to say this is that keep this number up because we are looking for guests. We are looking
Yes.
for guests that are willing to share their expertise, or if they even have a topic around wellness for your mind, body, or soul that they want to share with this community that you think would be an amazing guest. We are looking for guests. So all you have to do is text 404-737-0867 and say, hey, I got a guest. This is the person's name.
Yes.
So thank you all so much. Marty, before we go, what do you want to leave the peoples with tonight?
What I want to leave them with is don't be afraid to share your story. Your story can and will impact so many others. Because you are here living and breathing, your story is not over. It's only begun. Remember to live your best life.
I love that. Tam, thank you so much, darling, for joining. Nicole, oh girl, sis, I had to refresh this. You know how natural hair be. So yeah, today she acting real right. Hello, darling. She acting good. Thank you so much. Marty, that was incredible. To all of you, we love you. We will see you next
Yes.
week back here, same bat time, same bat channel. But let me tell you, we got some twists and turns for you.
Yes,
And you
we
guys
do.
know we end every show with this declaration: waking up is automatic, showing up is intentional. Today,
Today,
I
I
will
will
show
show
up.
up.